from the Lone Elm Sports Park here in Olathe, Kansas. This is the 2023 USAFL Super Regionals as the women's division kicks off. The Texas Heat and the White Jumpers going up against the Denver Bulldogs. My name is Brian Barish. Great to have you along, and joining me in the co-commentary chair and special comments to this from the DC Eagles, Christina Sobral. CC, thanks so much for joining us. Talk about these two teams here. I really like the way that both of them are coming in. DC, a number of their players are going to be playing alongside Denver. There's one key player missing, unfortunately, Alex Trollope, with a flight situation, not going to be here for this first game. It's a big miss, but it should be a decent-looking side here for the Crows.
DC is topping up the Heat, not the
Heat. I'm sorry, the Heat.
No problem. But yeah, Denver typically is a very strong side against building side with Austin, and DC is strong and Houston.
5 seconds into the game, I've already made a mistake, but that's okay. We'll blame the sun. Denver going forward from the right side and going after it there is Allison Bremner, a former USA Freedom player who played for the in the International Cup back in 2017, picking that one up there for the Heat. And it'll be a ball up. Umpire Lori Roop will send that ball to the heavens. Texas has players from Austin, Houston, and a couple of players, as we mentioned, from DC. As Iris Wu sends that one wayward. Going after that, I believe, is Serpico, and it is. Can't miss her in that number 5. Digging after that again is Jaden Sosa in there for Texas, and now Denver has a chance to push the ball forward. It's a free kick to Iris Wu. Wu with the footy. Short kick and almost 4 hands on the footy, and then out of the pack. That one goes sailing behind, and a good job of roving. I believe that may have been Lindsay Kastanek, and Denver. I'm going to be doing that all day. Denver on the Watch AFL scoreboard leads 1-0. So good, kind of nervy play so far. Denver, definitely, you can see their experience. They have a little bit more of the gumption coming forward, and that's very important in this game. As Texas set to put the ball back into play here. Out to the near side, and the ball is marked. Nice play over the top there, the 23. That's Squid. That's Emma Wewell, who plays for St. Louis. 2 players from St. Louis in addition to DC on this side as she takes the mark. And now spinning around. Good shepherd off the footy. Handball back by Benitez. Swings that one out on the far side. It goes back. They go back to go forward. This is Allie Dykes. Dykes goes forward and finds a wide open Bremner who takes the mark. Allie Dykes, I believe, did spend some time playing with DC as well. And we'll talk about her a little bit further in a moment. Nice mark over the top. And again, that is Lindsay Kastanek, who takes a nice mark. She is very experienced, CC, and you see it there. And it's really good positioning. When you're in the forward line, that positioning is very important. Unfortunately, the kick, somebody alert the KC Zoo because I just saw a Shankopotamus, and she's going to want that one back. If forwards very, very dedicated to their craft, and when they miss one like that, it wears on them. And so 2 behinds, it's 2-0 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Going back to Allie Dykes, what kind of player is she when she played for you guys?
Very scrappy, goes to the ball, and quick, makes good decisions, and has a really great boot.
Ball comes back into play, and Texas trying to work the ball forward. It's going to be a free kick, and it will go again to Jaden Sosa, one of the players from Austin. Most of the players, I think it's 10 from Austin on this Texas Heat side, as the ball comes up on the far side, and big bump put in there, and then going after the get it, throwing her shepherd in was Corinne Franz, and the ball gets worked forward, and wearing one of the players there like a coat, one of the Texas players. That is Rita Hill going after the footy. She'll be playing for Team USA as Dykes gets the handball out. That one is blocked down. A nice job there, and then holding it in. We're just trying to figure out who the Texas player was who had the footy, and it looks like she's going to get pinged for holding the ball. It'll be I think it's going to end up being a ball up. Yeah. And we'll catch that in a minute as Barb Williamson in the ruck. She'll be playing for the Freedom in this summer, in this August, in the 49th Parallel Cup in Racine, Wisconsin. Wu able to get that one out to the near side, tracking back, but couldn't get to it. Elizabeth Toms, who is from Great Britain originally, and she's really impressed in the early going for Austin. But here comes Denver out in the middle of the ground looking for Bremner, bounces in front. Serpico takes it up, comes to the near side, bangs that one out looking for a player there in 26. Morgan Doherty, thank you. She wasn't on here really. She changed numbers. That's what it is. We'll fix it up. I was at that looks like Morgan, but I go with the numbers, and so that'll be a ball up. I really like Morgan. I'm very impressed by her. Not only does she bring height, and she can platoon in different places, but she's very athletic. She's very quick. I mean, that really has to help your side to have as a tall target.
It really does. We test her up there in the forward line and obviously as a ruck. She's also joining the Freedom at the
Yes.
World Cup.
She is, and very well. There are going to be a lot of tall options. We mentioned Brooke Williamson as Bremner finds Kastanek up on the near side. It's going to be very, very interesting how Team USA plays as the ball comes back in, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. As it looks like that was Valdez, Krista Valdez from Port Isabel, Texas, able to clear that one out, and this is her second full season. The ball comes back now and picked up, and here's a chance for a goal. That's Solis, and Solis has slotted that one home. Great awareness by Shea Solis. That's the first major score of the game on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Denver goes to 1-2-8. Texas no score. And CC, what I liked about that play was it was a little bit of a broken play. The ball was in dispute, but it popped right to Solis, an Australian, making absolutely no mistake the poise, because it's very, very easy to lose your poise in front of goal. She made no mistake there. Indeed. Let's go back and talk about the Team USA. I know you've seen a lot of the players, and a lot of them as well. Height in the women's game is it's a rare commodity. It's something when you see players over 6 feet. But what I noticed about the American talls, they're all incredibly athletic. Usually when you think of rucks in the men's game, they're tall, but all they can do is be tall. The players here, they're fast. They can affect the contest. They all have good hands, and they all have good, accurate kicks.
Yes, I think like the benefit of a lot of our taller women is that they came from other sports. Like I think Morgan was a volleyball player. I believe the other ruck for the Texas team is also a volleyball player.
Brooke,
so
yeah.
That definitely helps with ball awareness and getting up to get the ball in a contest.
Sorry, I said Brooke. I meant Barbara. Brooke Williamson is a chef. That's how I know. Barbara Williamson, yeah, she's come out of like the last couple of seasons. She's done a fantastic job, and it'd be great to see her wearing red, white, and blue. Here comes Denver once again over the back. You can definitely tell that they have their tails up because they are Bulldogs, and they are in fact going after the footy there. As that one is sent in up high and coming over, and Nolenberger, who's a veteran for Houston, had the ball bounce out of her hands, but the Heat doing a good job of staying with the footy, just kicking that one forward. But yeah, Terse, the former Philadelphia Hawk, and we'll talk about her in just a moment. Big hit in there, and it looks like it's going to be well, double checking. I thought I saw Lori pay no, it's going to be out of bounds, boundary throw-in. Lindsay started with Philadelphia, moved to Austin, now plays for Texas, and I know you guys played against her when she played for the Hawks. I like the way she plays because she's small, but she uses her low center of gravity very well.
She does. She's very agile, and she's always in the right spot. She is very impactful for her team.
Also will be playing for Team USA in Racine, Wisconsin as well, and I think very good after being unlucky, and obviously, I mean, everybody was unlucky in 2020. I think she probably could have made the team in 2020, but it's good to see her get her chance here in 2023. Here come the Heat as the ball bounces in for Doherty, but she's taken down. She loses the footy. She is gone. Good tackle in there by Jessica Lynn. And Lynn, who is still relatively new, but has played for a couple of seasons, and she is rapidly improving with every game that she plays. About 9 minutes gone. Remember, 2 20-minute halves, and tracking back over the head there of Palacios, or rather that it might have been Tom's, but that one goes in all alone by herself. Nolenberger back there trying to play goalie, but there is Serpico able to clear that one away, and she comes out to the near side. It bounces in front. Here is Jaden Sosa, who plays that one down. Chasing in to go get it is Lynn. Two players were throwing shepherds there for each other, and I think one of them realized that they had to go after the ball at some point. Here is Al Leonard from Seattle originally, has come over to Denver the last couple of seasons and given them a spot. She'll be heading to Team USA. Big tackle thrown in from behind, and holding the ball is called. And a good job in there. I believe that's going to be Catherine Rowe, who came from behind. And, Texas, as we said, their defense is linking up, and you could see it there with Heather Serpico. 10 seasons of USAFL footy, that experience really showing, especially when you can come through the back like that, CC. Yeah, and that's the key, and especially any position in the field, you have to have your teammates back, and she showed that really well. Played for New York, played for Portland, now playing down in Austin. Nolenberger skittles that one across like a cockroach on the bathroom floor, but right to Lindsay Kastanek. Finds Bremner. Bremner sends that one for goal. It's there. And Denver extends the lead. And once again, the experience of Kastanek finding the cutting Bremner, and she splits the middle. Denver 2-2-14. Texas no score. Lots on the Watch AFL scoreboard. And once again, it's that loose play. You got to know when to crump, but also the positioning, the awareness there of Bremner to make herself an option. And all she had to do, she was in the right spot, one step, and bang through the goalpost. Yeah, they're playing really well. You played. Well, let's talk about, because you had played them last year at regionals or nationals rather. What was it like playing up against them?
Definitely very much like this. They were very good at moving the ball from the midfield to the forward line, and they have all tall players, so it is definitely tough for a smaller defensive side.
Yeah, it really is, and that's the thing. I think it'll be interesting to see. I know that Milo Lombardi, who's coaching the Texas Heat, they were talking about what they were going to do in terms of defense and their height, and I think, unfortunately, they might need to make some adjustments here as that one is sent in towards. There's Caitlin Masher as the ball goes out of bounds. Caitlin Masher, I'm going to mention this because I have the opportunity. She is the most interesting person in the USAFL. She not only does she play footy, she plays Gaelic. She used to play lacrosse. I think there's a gridiron background in there. She is a paramedic. She is an ordained Buddhist priest, and she and her wife make their own sake, and there is a great goal from dead in front, and we're going to give that one to Allison Bremner once again, and Denver is running away early. 3-2-20 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Texas no score, and again from a stop play, and again Bremner, great position. Now, one thing I do want to, since we're here, we'll talk about this as well. You guys made the step up. DC made the step up to Division I last year. It's great to see, and after having been in Division II, made it to the Division II Grand Final, it's great to see your club, other clubs build up and get into Division I. Talk about, from your perspective, the state of the Division I footy in the USAFL right now. Yeah, it really is, and it's great as well to get experience as a full-sided team. And even if you lose, if the games aren't close, I still think there's always something you can learn from those matches. Benitez sends that one forward. Denver looking for more, and they're going to get it. Except not in the major score, just through behind the stick, as Rex Hunt used to say. 3-3-21 off the foot of Shea Solis. No score for Texas. Brian Barish alongside Christina Sobral, a.k.a. CC, our man Craig on camera. Great to have your company. Remember, you can check us out at USAFL.com. We're on Facebook and Facebook at Facebook.com/USAFL, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at USAFL1997. At some point, we will consolidate all of that, but right now it is a mouthful. And over to get it now, and up on the far side, and that one will drop down. Over to get it is, I think that's Diana Sosa's. That one will be sent forward, and that one was blocked, and now Denver has the footy, but the ball goes out of bounds. and we'll talk about the weather here. It is getting warm. It is going to get a little bit warm. It is very difficult, especially on a day when you are playing 3 games. It's about personal management and about team management as well. And I know from a team perspective, there's more that goes into it. There's a lot of preparation for a 1-day tournament. I know you're familiar with that.
Yes, there is. Today, at least there's a little bit of a breeze going.
Yeah.
But what the women have done is we're playing 16s today so that everyone has at least a few people on the bench.
Yeah, there are at least 2 players, must have at least 2 players on the bench. That's the rule. So even if we end up playing a little bit more shorthanded, what that does do is it does open up the play. There have been some moments of congestion, but there have been some moments of just pure moving the football, which is good. We want to see that in the women's game because a lot of times we do, just because of the style of play, the everything just gets too congested. Here's Heather Serpico, who racks up yet another disposal through the hands of Doherty over the top, and it comes out to Dykes, who just got her foot to the ball. Denver pops that one up high, and that one, I believe, has just stayed in play somehow, some way. And there is a rolling tumbleweed maul situation happening over there. Throw a blanket over 10 players, stacks on the mill, and all those sayings and cliches like that there. And we'll have a ball up. Again, our thanks to Tasmanian for getting behind us once again and sponsoring us, as well as the folks here at Visit Olathe. Olathe, Kansas, a beautiful part of the country. If you get a chance to come out here and check it out alongside Kansas City, please do. Here comes Texas up that far side. Going to drop in front, and the ball goes out of bounds in front of Catherine Rowe, and chasing after it was Kim Gilmore. And it's good to see Texas now come alive and finally get a chance inside 50. Ball comes spinning back in the play once again. Gets knocked down by Toms. And the ball gets chipped out on the far side. The ball comes skipping through a high bounce. Going to set up nicely for Wu. She got knocked off the football but stayed there. And then continuing the fight with Suisse, who got taken down. Throwing her shoulder in there was Hill. And now they keep it going. That's the thing. These close-in plays, they're winning them out. And Dykes is able to find Lindsay Kastanek. Sends that one high. Bremner, yes! Takes the mark in front of the late arriving Palacios. And once again, Bremner, she's been the key forward there, and it's all about positioning as a forward.
Yeah, she reads the ball really well. You saw her line up the kick in the air, and she just brought it in.
Bremner strides forward. Kick is on the way. It starts right. It stays right, and it has gone through for a behind. Watch AFL scoreboard for score in a while. 3 minutes in point of fact. 3-4-22 for the Denver Bulldogs. No score for the Texas Heat. 3 minutes to go in this first half. There are 2 other teams in this group. Denver will be the pivot team, so we'll see all 3 of Denver's matches. But we've got the New York Magpies, who are combined with players from a couple of other teams. They've had some issues with the flight, flight delays as well. And then we've got the Minnesota Freeze, who defending runners-up in Division One a season ago, losing to San Francisco, and we'll get. I know you played against them, CC. How great was it, for them to finally make it through to the grand final?
Awesome. Minnesota just came in so strong. They have such great depth, and they're really very exciting team to watch.
So here is Allison Bremner as the ball went out on the full. She's going to be from a very acute angle. She's going to back herself, but it drifts across the face. It's still in play. And digging after it again, Lindsay Kastanek is looming there in the forward line, and they go for the kick just out on the or out of bounds. It'll be a boundary throw in. If you're watching us and you're familiar with AFL and AFLW and probably thinking that should have been deliberate, our deliberate rules a little bit more not as stringent just because of the nature of some of the players, some of the relatively new players. You'll find that with a lot of the rules. There's no deliberate rush behind prohibition, which makes things a little bit easier. Bremner again, and again, she goes behind the stick, and another point. It is 3-5-23 Denver, no score for Texas. And we'll say this about Texas. I am liking what I'm seeing from the occasion. They are forcing them into, as we said, 5 behinds, and they've all been off the boot. If you can force some of those, even if you're struggling to get the ball forward, it does kind of raise your confidence because it does mean you're affecting play.
Right, you're definitely
Ball comes up on that far side. The ball goes out of bounds once again. I love the fact as we're here in the Super Regionals that we have 4 teams. It's been a while. I know we had 4 teams in the Central Regionals. We haven't had anything like this in the Easterns, and I think it's really great for the clubs. As we mentioned, DC, New York, some of the Eastern clubs, Boston and Columbus sending a player each. We mentioned St. Louis, Cincinnati has a player in here. It's great to see them be involved in this large 4-team field.
One of the big driving reasons behind a super regional was to get the women's teams more games at regionals.
And that I know will help drive them. And I know it's hard, especially Denver. There's no team around them. Minnesota, there's no large team around them. This is a great opportunity to get that in. And speaking of getting that in, the ball is sent in, but a nice mark taken, and that is halftime. Well, it's been all one-way traffic for the Denver Bulldogs. They are 3-5-23 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. No score for the Texas Heat. But you know what, CC? If you're Texas, it's not necessarily all been bad news. There's been some good stretches of the play. I think Morgan Doherty has led well. Barb Williamson has done pretty decently in the ruck. And, I really like the play of Palacios. Catherine Rowe's been good up on the forward line. Heather Serpico, though, I think has been best on ground for them so far.
I agree, and I think that Kelsey Terse has been doing a good
Yes.
job at crumbing balls and keeping them to the outside and not letting them just run through the center.
So that'll do it for the first half. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the second half of this one. You're watching the 2023 USAFL Super Regionals from Olathe, Kansas, thanks to Tasmanian here on USAFL.com. Back here at Lone Elm Park in Olathe, Kansas for the second half of this opening round of the women's division match between the Texas Heat and the Denver Bulldogs. Brian Barish alongside Christina Sobral. Glad to have your company as well. The score on the Watch AFL scoreboard is the Denver Bulldogs 3-5-23. Texas no score. And CC, if you're Texas, what is your goal here in the second half? Yeah. Yeah. Score more points. I love it. All right, out of the middle, back again here as right now we have a rugby mall situation, a game of aggro twister, it seems like. And out of that, umpire Jeff Person, who just played in the game that we saw right here, as they've got Morgan Doherty in the ruck. I think that's a really good move. It'll be interesting to see where they put Barbara Williamson. But I like Morgan in the ruck, and that's also good that they have those options. Yes. Because remember, if you're not familiar, she's going to essentially follow the ball just about this entire second half. And in this heat, that's very important. Denver's defense springs to life for the first time. This is Marissa Poorboy, who we saw on the forward line last year kick a couple of goals. Dykes able to stab that one forward. There is Doherty, picks up the footy, just got the kick away, and now picked up and getting spun around, and now sending that one forward. Here comes Denver now as they pick up where they left off. Kastanek with a ball looking for Solis. There the challenge is Serpico. Gives the ball back to Lindsay Kastanek. Who wants it? Everybody. Who's got it? Nice mark taken by Caitlin Masher. When you're 6'3", you're going to have that advantage. But she took that, and it was a nice chest mark. Sends that one in towards the sticks, and that one is going to stay in play. Picked up there and going to get it there is McAleer. She turns for goal, and that one might have snuck in, and it has. Another goal to Denver, and Shawneen McAleer, who is a relatively new player. This is the first time we've called her name from the Denver Bulldogs, and they extend the lead on the Watch AFL scoreboard. 4-5-29 for Denver. No score for Texas. The one thing I forgot to mention about Kate, she also is a nationally ranked sumo wrestler, so she has that strength in there as well. But a good job of taking the mark. But again, another broken play, and McAleer springs on the footy and able to kick a nice goal from an odd angle. So we come back into the middle once again. And that breeze, and here comes Texas with their first sortie inside 50. Going after it is Rowe. She goes and picks it up. Dykes is there in support for Denver. She has the footy, and then just able to roll that out. And picked up nicely. There's a left-footed kick for goal, and that's there. Great job, and there is Barb Williamson, and she's a tall player. There's a long way down to pick up the footy, but a great job of crubbing. That's a huge goal. Texas really need that. They go to one straight 6. The margin back to 23 points. Denver 4-5-29. That's a great goal.
Relatively early in the second half, so hopefully they keep it up.
Plenty of time to build momentum. Now, we mentioned about the temperature. We have been told, our cameraman Craig, who's been keeping an eye on the weather, the storms that we were talking about and heading, it looks like they're going to pass through the south. We are feeling some of the breeze, which is really good. The only thing that's worried about is the weather, and by the time we see the later games, those games we might go into our hot weather policy to see 4 quarters instead of 2 halves, which tends to break up momentum a little bit more. But Denver taking that punch to the gut and looking to return serve here. Handball over the top looking for Wu. Couldn't claim it cleanly. Soccered on by Terse. But here comes Bremner. Bremner stabs for a goal. Drops in front, and that will go through for a minor score as Masher Mace shepherding her defender out of the play, but unfortunately couldn't get to the footy as it bounces through. 4-6-30 for Denver. 6 points for Texas on the Watch AFL scoreboard. And now we're starting to see a little bit more back and forth, and it's getting a little bit more competitive, and that's what we like to see. Milo Lombardi, who was the inaugural coach of the Heat when they were first assembled in 2017, he went to the UK for a couple of years, then went to Australia, and he was telling me last night he wasn't expecting to leave Australia again. He is an Aussie. He was called back to Houston for work, and it's great to see him back in charge. And a nice mark again by Kate Masher. So Masher, originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico, lived all over the world, lived in the East Coast for a time. Stabby kick across the face, it's short, and there is Solis, who is taken down. Could have been in the back, but they're not going to get it. And here comes Serpico out the back, or check that's not Serpico, out to the near side, and a nice mark over the top by Lindsay Terse. She played in Philly. How can I not recognize her? Here is Terse. Terse comes out to the near side. Going after it is Franz. Franz able to spoil the play. Dykes in there as well. And kicking in danger, absolutely. Jaden Sosa, a little bit of inexperience right there. I think that's the cousin of Diana Sosa, who we haven't seen yet. But here is Dykes, who plays out one forward. Kastanek positions herself well. And they're going to call play on. Does umpire Jeff Person. One out by Texas. This is Doherty, watched by Dykes. Dykes trying to find a way to the footy, and does. Could have been pushing the back, no call. Maybe got away with one. Spoiled nicely by Serpico against Lindsay Kastanek, and then Wu able to move that one forward. Williamson threw herself at the footy, but couldn't get to it. And back the other way. You know what? That is a fantastic effort. I think that was Elizabeth Toms who scored the goal. We gave it to Williamson, but Elizabeth Toms will give credit for. I thought Williamson was wearing 22. She's wearing 14. But good effort by all of them on that goal. Denver with a chance now. Again, 30-24 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Goes out to the far side, drop what she should have taken there, and then Sosa able to affect the play. Texas able to get some territory. Now who'll run onto it? That is Poor Boy who does, and then Poor Boy stays with the footy. Oh, she's wearing 19, but there's Melissa Poor Boy, so maybe that was 18. That might have been McAleer, as out to the near side. The 9s and the 8s, the round numbers, they all look the same from here, CC. And then Here's Wu, who picks that one up and goes into the middle of the ground. Solis, good bump put in there by Jackie Sparling. Sends that one in. Again, looking for Masher. Drops in front. Picked up by McAleer. McAleer and Masher. Nolenberger is back there. They bowl her over. McAleer picks it up. Able to get it to Bremner in support, but Bremner from point-blank range misses, and it's through for a behind. 4-7-31 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Texas, one straight 6. The margin back to 25 points. The pace of play is picking up again.
Texas is fighting for every single ball and making those extra efforts in every play.
They really, really are, and it is really, really great to see. I was going to check at halftime, and I didn't get the opportunity. I wanted to see where Elizabeth Toms was from, and we're going to get that opportunity here in just a moment. But that one is sent in directly across, and Masher is there down mushroom farming. Squirts out. That's McAleer, but she is claimed quickly by Beth Nolenberger, and that, I believe she might have gotten her high, and in fact, that's the case. And so it will be a free kick from dead in front to Shawneen McAleer. McAleer is a rookie, left-footed kick on the way, got under it a little bit too much. It doesn't even find the behind, but there's a great shot over the shoulder, and McAleer has kicked her second fantastic goal of the day. Well, they may have found a gem in the forward line in Shawneen McAleer, 5-7-37 to 6 points on the Watch AFL scoreboard. It's out to 31 points, and it might be all over bar the shouting from Denver. Texas hasn't played all that badly, it must be said, but I like the awareness, that killer instinct of Denver. They've always seemed to have it. And it's interesting, CC, I remember when they won those 6 national championships from 2010 to 2015. At the beginning of that, they were always a bash it forward, like just get the ball forward at all costs. In the last few years, they've learned to play that more traditional style. They've succeeded on it, not to the level that San Francisco has, alas. And we'll get into that in just a moment, but it's great to see as here comes Sulis once again, and Sulis sends that one across the face and behind the stick. Another score. It's 5-8-38 to 1 straight 6, but that's really been across the board. The skills have gotten much better every year. The quality of play has gotten better across the women's division, not just these two teams here today, but across the board. It really does, and it's great to see. The women's footy, the importance of the women's arm of this game, I think the growth of it is much more important than the men's game. And I say that because the men's game will always be there. There will always be growth in the men's game. We need more women playing. That lifts the entire sport up, not just in Australia, but obviously here in the U.S. and around the world, as we've seen some great teams in Europe, up in Canada, who of course we'll see in the 49th Parallel Cup in Racine in August, both the men and the women playing 2 weeks apart from each other. And here with a big booming kick is Toms. As the ball comes up on that far side, stays in play. Denver trying to work the ball forward once again, sending that one in towards, and the mark taken on the far side by Lindsay Kastanek. Lindsay in the forward line, where we normally have seen her through all of those. She was a mainstay in those halcyon years and also on the national team. She turns the ball over. Great job by Lindsay Terse. She's very quietly playing a very good game for this Texas Heat side. As the ball continues up on that far side, over on the intense side of the ground, because there are people over there intense. I will use that line at least once a game. I was just looking up here to see where Elizabeth Toms was from, and we'll find that out. She's somewhere in England, and I remember I try to commit all of this to memory. But meanwhile, the play is up on the far side. And there is off the hands of Allie Dykes, who just gets the handball in. Jacqueline Schaefer watching the play, another player from Austin as well, as the ball tumbles out of bounds. And once again, we'll have a boundary throw-in. But I think the play on both sides, CC, has really lifted, which is great to see. I think, it looked like Denver was going to snow them over. They got that one goal there. They got that one goal at the beginning of the second half. They haven't really been able to capitalize that much here in the second half. They are starting to move the ball forward, though. Let's see if they get anything out of this. But it is good to see the game equilibrate a bit. Yeah. Elizabeth Toms is from Chichester originally in the UK. So it's great to see it. There's been some really good players. Katja Hewitt, I believe, who's on this Denver time. She's originally from the UK as well. There was a player in Nashville, Brooke Elias, who has since gone back home, but come over and actually played. She played for Nashville. And Tom's looking for a call, and she's not going to get it. And this one's going to come back. Brian Barish alongside Christina Sobral. Glad to have your company here as we have roughly about 7.5 minutes to go in the second half of this first game. And of course, you can check us out again, usafl.com, facebook.com/USAFL, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, USAFL 1997. And our thanks to our major sponsor, Tasmanian. They come out to the near side to Allie Leonard, who's come across, as we said, from Seattle. Been a great addition, veteran addition to this Denver side. That one skitters past Serpico, going after it, but there is Wu. A great job of affecting the play by Masher as it comes into the middle of the ground and crawling on her hands or knees. I didn't see who that was. Nolenberger was spun around, and that's going to be tackling without the football. And it will be a free kick to Beth Nolenberger, who didn't have the ball cleanly. A good call by Jeff Person. And just, if you're not familiar with the rule, you do have to have both hands on the footy in order to be tackled. Free kick to Beth Nolenberger. Comes out to the near side, probably a shank, and in fact, it has been marked by Shea Solis. We do see Diana Sosa. She was right there, and she was right there in defense. Morgan Darty, I believe that is on the mark, and that one sends that one in and over the top. And that will drive. Nolenberger will be called into action again out of the back line. Out to the near side, going to be picked up. Here is Lindsay Kastanek, who turns on the Jets, centering ball and wide open and slamming it home. I believe maybe it was probably Shea Solis. I think that was Shea Solis, and that is cherry on top of the delicious sundae that is this game. And that's the last time I'll say delicious in the context of footy because I'm not Bruce McAvaney. 6-8-44 to 6 points to 1, 6-8 to 1 straight, 38 points on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Denver not letting up, and that's how Lindsay Kastanek plays. When you know that's how you could tell. I mean, everybody gives everything, but to still, it doesn't matter if they're behind by 5 goals or up by 5 goals. Lindsay Kastanek, one of those players who has no off switch once the ball goes off. As the 5:15 to Prairie Village goes on behind us, the ball comes spinning back in the play. Here comes Dykes, who's done a good job in the ruck for Denver. And they just push it forward. It's nurdled forward, sends inside the 40-meter arc. It'll bounce in front. Sosa is there, and picking that one up is Masher, who again, staying with the footy, using her heightened strength, gets it out the back. Big tackle thrown in from behind. They're coming in from everywhere for those tackles. Going after it is Jess Stewart for Houston, from Houston for Texas. As we mentioned, the Texas Heat with players from the Austin Crows and Houston Lonestars, in addition to the DC Eagles, and they have 2 players. We mentioned Squid, Emma Wheel, and Rain Dorea from the St. Louis Blues, not those St. Louis Blues, the other St. Louis Blues, as well. And they've done pretty well. Here is Fiona Matson. Playing in her 4th season. Here come Texas. They chase the ball up on that far wing position, but it's chased down by the Bulldogs. Off the hand of Doherty, rather. Here is Wu sending that one into the middle of the ground. Going back to chase it. There is Serpico diving in for the footy, and we have a free kick as the wind has picked up and the paperwork has gone everywhere. Thank you, Alyssa. You have arrived just in time. Got to keep the receipts, both in life and in footy trips. As the ball comes out, we're going to stick that in my pocket. Ball will come back in on the other side. We must also say, CC, I know you're not going to be out there playing, but just looking at these fields, we were talking with Tom Ellis in the last game, like how great these fields are, especially in June when it could be hard as a rock. They seem like they have some nice cushion to them, so when you get tackled, it's not like, falling into a cliff. Really does, especially when you get tackled several times a game. 44-6 still on the Watch AFL scoreboard. We're getting pretty near the end, as John and Paul once said on a really good Beatles song. In fact, 3 minutes to go, just about. And up on the far side, umpire Jeff Person again calling for a free kick to Denver. So Denver will have New York and company next, and then Minnesota. That Minnesota game, I mean, you would think they're favored against New York. I mean, that's going to be a difficult task, but you think they're going to be that game against Minnesota. That's going to be the marquee matchup. Minnesota beat Denver at Nationals last season. Denver's going to want some semblance of revenge. And it just should be a good with two good teams.
Really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, me too. You'll be back here calling it,
Yes, I will.
and it'll be fun. And you've done a fantastic job so far. Which of course I'll say again at the end because you can never hear praise enough. Yeah, there you go. Ball comes up on the far side, and now here is sent that one in. And that bounces free. Masher chasing after it. Nolan Berger is there. Shepard thrown in by somebody for Texas. It was Claire Conley.
Yes.
All right, so she's going to need. Oh no, I think she's 28, or maybe she was 18. I saw an 8. I saw a 2, so maybe she's wearing a different number.
Neon yellow cleats on.
Ah, yes. Claire Conley, like Tom, her partner, started out in Columbus, played a season down in Tampa, and now with you guys in DC. She's been a great addition too. I love her style of play, but also just a great attitude about the game. She really does well and really passionate about the sport.
She's very smart about how to play, and she does a great job coaching up our newer players on defense.
She's also just a good human. I mean, there's a lot of good humans out there, but she's just a good human. And they play up on the far side. Looking, trying to call for the footy there is Cassie Wilkerson. Good to see Cassie back. She went on that Liberty tour back in 2017, and in the very first game did her ACL. Took her, I think, 2 years to come back. She finally came back and was playing in I think by 2021 she was actually playing again. I don't know that she played in the 2019 Nationals. She'll probably correct me when she hears us, but ball goes out of bounds. Again on the Watch AFL scoreboard, 6-8-44 for the Denver Bulldogs, 1 straight 6 for Texas, as getting down towards the nubbin of this match. Picked up out of the back by Nolan Berger, and then send that one down the line. And nice mark over the top by Cass Stanek, who will square up. That's not Cass Stanek. I think that might be Al Leonard. That was Cass Stanek, who took a decent mark. That wasn't a handball. And here it goes, picks that one up and trying to slalom through the white and teal jumpers. And down behind the play is McAleer, and she is slow to get up. I think she may have accidentally caught some high contact. And you see Heather Serpico, some good sportsmanship, just checking in on her. McAleer appears to, well, she's walking away from the play. I think she's going to stay in for now. It is a free kick to Caitlin Masher. The wind is blowing from left to right. I believe this will come after the siren. And Denver has won the game. It's just a matter as to whether or not it'll be by 38 points or by 44 points. The wind appears to be blowing from right to left, and that is the exclamation point on this game. Caitlin Masher right through the proverbial hey diddle diddle through the middle, and Denver has won this game by 44 points on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Denver, 7 goals, 8 behinds, 50 points. Texas, 1 straight 6. CC, Denver controlled the game, but if you're Texas, some positives to take into the second round.
Positives. They were tenacious. They were humming the ball. I think that they made good changes at halftime, and I'm excited to see what they've got going on for the rest of the day.
Well, the second round of the game, we'll see Texas. They'll take on Minnesota. It'll be just as challenging. The game we'll have for you right here on USAFL.com a little bit later will be the Denver Bulldogs taking on the New York Magpies. Our thanks to Christina Sobral and to Craig Campbell, our cameraman, for bringing you the action here from the 2023 USAFL Super Regionals here in Olathe. Our thanks to Visit Olathe and to Tasmanian, and to you for joining us. Until next time, this is Brian Barish saying so long for now.